Okay, we're Touhou today again. Uh, we're doing Touhou Game Jam Kerfluffle. I love the word Kerfluffle. Kerfluffle is great. Uh, huh? Read me. Okay, there's a bunch of things. Blah blah blah. If you could verse be on fucking Mars, you keep clicking hitbox. Okay. Huh? Huh? Clicking. Okay. What? What? Here. Okay. Credits. Interviewees. Okay. I did not. I don't have a 4K monitor, so it should be fine. It's called journalism. Game. So game joker bonus interview. Okay. We're doing. Okay, boom boom, right? That's what we're doing probably. Alright, I'm gonna put myself on the side here. Let's begin. Let's begin. The story begins with a curious Tengu. It always does with her. Hello, Toshiko. Huh? Who are you? I'm Rakasak, the game developer yokai. I spirited in some game designers to create games about Gensokyo. Games? Like Shogi? Kinda. The game developers are gonna get residents who Gensokyo to roleplay their game ideas. It'll be really cool. What are the games about? Dunno. That's up to the devs. But I gotta know. Oh, I'll just go ask the devs themselves. That'll work, I think. I can only keep them here for 3 days, though. 3 days? Not knowing what games these are, but out would keep me up at night. I'll have to work to interview as many people as possible. Alright. Please make sure to sleep. Interview different developers as Toshiko. But stay mindful, you only have 72 hours to set up your newspaper. You have to balance interviewing, sleeping, and finding team members. Alright, it's life sim. Or you can find team members with the Find Team Members button on the right. It will take at least 1 hour to find a team member, but could take more. Find all your team members before 5 hours up, or you'll have to end early. Finally, you can use the control keys to skip through text. Good luck, okay? Okay. Okay, bit overwhelming, sure. Anyway, let's let's recruit a team member. I guess I'm running 72 hours. Let's recruit. Think about this. Things take it. It's time to find a team member. I'll search for an artist. Left click the right character to recruit them. Be careful, if you click on the wrong character, you'll lose an hour of time. The artist looks like this, okay? It's bird with the orange eyes, yellow haired leaves in her hair. Alright, there she is. Oh, that's what they mean by click box things. Hitbox clicking. Sweet, I found them. Artist recruited. Alright. Well, we need to recruit all team members first. Let's go with that. It's time to find a team member. Also for test reader. Click on the right character. Recruit. Be careful. If you click on the right character, you lose the hour time. Okay, it's that one. It's I forget. Maybe it's Sekibaki, I think. Maybe. This is like testing my brain. Where's? Okay, there she is. Hello. Sweet, I found them. Test reader recruiter. Okay, let's just get this out of the way first. Distributor. Okay, who is the distributor? It's that one. I don't remember who she is. Anyway, she is. Oh, there she is. There, hiding behind the other head. That became a little harder. Alright, last one. Team member interviewer. Okay, who we're looking for? We're looking for a thing. Alright, oh, this is gonna be harder. It's a smaller hitbox. You got 4 things on the head: diamond hat, red eyes. Can we even spot her? Where is she? Oh, there she is. That was easy. Sweet, I found them. Interview recruit. Okay, now we can just interview everyone because we've got nothing else left. Alright, let's just begin with history leaf. Time cost, everything's cost 6 hours. 6 hours, that's a lot. That's a lot. We can't interview everyone. We can only sleep happens in 8 hours. Well, let's go with history leaf. Alright, time to interview them. Interview successful. What? Okay. Okay, I guess we'll have to click on the actual interviews because right now this is. Let's go with just sleep. Alright, time to interview them. Interview successful. Well, I'm tired. Help early bird gets the worm. Turn all the Kappa power lights off so you can fall asleep. Click on light to turn to its adjacent light off. Oh, we're doing the puzzle thing. The faster you turn the lights off, the less time it will take to fall asleep. If you get stuck, press the control key, turn all the lights back on. I mean, that is exactly a complicated thing. You Dial off the light side of time. 8 hours have passed. Sleeping for full 8 hours, everything good for you? I only need 6. Okay. Well, okay. Let's just... Yeah, Sleepy. We know Sleepy. They appear often in things. Interview with Sleepy. And then let's interview Kit, I guess. I don't know. Do we recognize any other names? Iced Lemon. We've seen that name. Let's go with that. Alright, to interview successful. I'm tired. It's built to... Wait. You slept for 8 hours, then you only had work for... That's... Okay, is it gonna be harder this time around? Because the first one was just like... No? God, just precision clicking. Alright, 8 hours passed. Man. Okay. 16 hours. Okay. Wait, why is Sleepy messages? Okay, well, anyway, Saisho. We think we've heard that name before as well. Then, let's go look at Solaris. The newspaper is ready. Your interviews are ready to read. Click on the page to go forward and back through the newspaper. Even if the page is blank, you can still click it. Alright. Alright. Interview. Oh, wait, no. No. Oh, wait, okay, it's only going forward. Alright. Let's... There we go, okay. Oh, wait, no. Oh, it's back of... Okay. I'm confusing myself. Anyway, interview history leaf. Why is your name? I'm just gonna read this in the same voice because no, I have no idea what these people sound like. We're all pretending here. History leaf 37 for my username, but you can just call me Leaf. So Leaf, as you said before the interview, you're worked across multiple teams this jam. What's your role been for these teams? I've always worked as the artist. I've done a variety of aspects like pixel art, VN, portraits, and backgrounds. Besides working on teams, I've also been developing a small solo project of which I'm handling everything. That's quite a bit of work. Why did you decide to work with multiple teams in this jam? I guess to gain more experience with teams, I suppose. I hadn't joined any teams in my first jam, so I thought, why not? I'm also fairly confident in developing art assets quickly, so that was another factor. To add on, this would be my second jam. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself? Feel free to say as much as you want. Well, besides creating art, I've been immersing in all sorts of digital forms of creativity for a while now. Programming is an especially recent one, and while it can be frustrating, I really enjoy the process of problem solving and making improvisations on the fly. I've also been dipping my toes into composing, though I would say I'm a very rookie level. You've worked in a lot of different production fields then, in game development. What do you think the most difficult part of the process is? Everything really. You have to make sure the code works properly for one, but then you also have to design the game to be fun, and I think that requires a pretty different skill set from just coding. You also have to make sure the art assets are consistent, or at the very least of a certain quality. The same goes for music, and sound effects are very important for player feedback, not to mention marketing and everything. It's a lot to take in general. While making your solo project, have you felt the challenges you described in your previous answer? Oh, definitely. While I did have some boilerplate and code references at the ready, piecing together prototypes still took quite a while. The art assets did go smoothly, but that's just because I'm an artist by trade. And I'm still trying to balance the game, and I've yet to start on the music and sound effects. Though the fact that I have complete creative direction for it, including what characters to put, really motivates me to see this to completion. Can you tell us a bit more about your solo project? Will the bird enjoyers be satisfied? I'm not sure. I realized that there's precisely only one bird in my game, but there's a lot of flying, I think, and dodging rocks especially. It also features my favorite characters, Megumu and Momoya. Would you consider yourself a fan of birds? What is your favorite if you have any? Actually, I'm more of an aquatic creatures enjoyer, but I do enjoy my fair share of birds as well. I really like quails and baby chicks. They're so round and cute. I also love baby penguins for the same reason, and penguins in general too. I went to see some penguins at a bird park once, and the way they kept diving into the water at this exact same location every few minutes was really funny to me. If you had to describe your game as a species of bird, which would it be? It would be a bird of prey. Any bird of prey will do, really. Feisty, that's everything. Thank you for your time. No problem. Good luck with the rest of it too, and your jam game, newspaper in general. Cool. Then, Citrus. Why is your specialty when it comes to development? Are you a programmer? Do you focus on the presentation such as music or artwork? Or are you a renaissance man and just do a bit of everything? Every time I've worked in a team to develop a game, I tend to take on an administrative role. I manage documents and delegate the roles, and then take care of the miscellaneous stuff that's not in the front and center. Sound effects, game descriptions, basic modeling, simple art, vague programming, and so on and so forth. I'm a very inexperienced jack of all trades, somehow. My experience with developing small games extends a little bit past game jams, so in those areas I'm also the person who presents a fair deal of the public image of those games in small circles. Recently I've been able to write a fair bit for projects like these, which I've found really fun. Tell us a bit about yourself. Feel free to overshare it to your heart's content. I'm Citrus. If you've ever seen someone who really likes Kutaka ni Watari, then there's a good chance it's me. I was vaguely aware of Touhou before I properly explored it, but my deep dive started when a demo for Touhou 17 was released. I was recommended Kutaka's theme and clicked it because I like chickens. Clearly that click led to a lot of other things. I had floated about around the community when Touhou 17 released, only watching gameplay and listening to the music. I somewhat explored the characters but had big misconceptions about them. I confused Junko and Okina, completely misunderstood the difference between Ryzen and Manga Ryzen, and I thought Ika was the antagonist in 12.3. Stuff like that. As the Touhou 18 release cycle started with its announcement, I took the full plunge and started learning everything. I interacted with the community, I played and still struggled with the games, I explored the other Touhou media, official and fan work. I had the full meal, and now here we are. Touhou has been a big part of my life since then, and I'm glad I've been able to have some new experiences and inspirations because of it. Cool. What's the most difficult part of the game development process for you? Well, initially I would say starting the process. Motivation is a tough cookie for me, and I can only really get worked up when inspiration strikes. But beyond that, I feel like finding a way to manage your scope is key. I could say programming is my strongest weakness, but things like that are always skills that can be improved upon with practice. Scope is more unpredictable. You can have an idea and it can quickly grow out of hand by team input or ambition. Managing the times of the team and the time that is given for development is important, and keeping the scope grounded leads to an easier timeline to follow. I find that when a team is allowed to be creative but limited, they can work well. Maybe I focus on things like scope and timelines just because of my usual role, but like I said, skills I am personally weak in can eventually improve, assuming I have the motivation to do so. Would you consider yourself a fan of birds? What is your favorite if you have any? I am a fan of birds. They are a coin flip between beautiful and interesting critters to just the silliest little guys around. Chickens of all breeds are something I love, though my liking for Kutaka was likely enough evidence for that. But I'm also a huge fan of peacocks, so much so that when I was younger, I wrote a poem in elementary school about peacocks. I think it may be because there were some in my childhood zoo that roamed around, and I visited that zoo very often. If Zune ever creates a peacock Touhou character, I think I may die from happiness. What is your game? What will it be like? What birds will be the birders? Will the birders be able to expect? Our game stars Kutaka. She's going to be frantically flying around trying to snatch up chickens as she protects her dear little friends from wolf spirits. It'll be a goofy game with a squishy art style and silly sound effects, but we hope it's enjoyable. Birders will naturally be able to see chickens, but perhaps a shuttered crow tango might make an appearance as well. Well, if we have time for that, of course. If you had to describe your game as a species of bird, which would it be? The easy answer here is a chicken, but I would like our game to be a kiwi. Kiwis are odd little things. They're flightless, so they run around weirdly, look very squishable, and they make odd noises. And that sounds just like our gameplay. Our gameplay is near the ground in a top-down view and involves quick movement, and I would like to think a kiwi perfectly encapsulates the silliness of birds. So I think that's a funny link to make. Alright, that's everything. Sorry if I was a bit wordy. I tend to be like that. Thanks for the opportunity and good luck with your game, newspaper. Hi, the next person, Sleepy. What is your specialty when it comes to development? Are you a programmer? Do you focus on the presentation such as music or artwork? Or are you a renaissance man that just do a bit of everything? I mostly do art, or well, just design, I guess. I love when a game looks pretty. Though for this one project, I'm kind of attempting voice acting just for fun. It is fun. Go for it. Tell us a bit about yourself. Feel free to overshare to your heart's content. Hi, I'm Zooey. I do art, I just really like drawing girls. I've been drawing for a few years now. I've never dabbled into fan art or anything until recently, since Touhou characters seem different to draw. These game jams have been my real first time getting into game development, and it's inspiring. I'm hoping one day I'll start my own little group. But yeah, that's all I think I have to say about myself. What's the most difficult part of the game development process for you? I really just trying to get the whole picture, like putting everything together I would say is the most difficult part. Game development takes a lot of you, no willingness to, basically sometimes you gotta give up stuff that you want for the whole thing to work out, and I can be a bit stubborn, so I'd say giving up some creative control is kinda difficult, but expected. Would you consider yourself a fan of birds? What is your favorite if you have any? I'm more of a bug person, but I'd say my favorite bird is the zebra finch. They're so cute and small and silly. Birds are okay, but bugs are 100% better. Does it bother you that birds eat bugs? No, because bugs eat birds, so it's fair game. Plus, in the end, everything goes to the bugs. Ah, yes, of course. What is your game? What will it be like? What birds will the birders be able to expect? The game I'm working on is called Foul Detective Satori. Basically like a Where's Waldo type of deal. You got a bunch of birds, but the sneaky Mamizo is hiding among them. But as of course, Mamizo basically like a master of disguise, so you gotta really look close to find her in that darn pack of birds. It's simple, but who doesn't like a small time waster? Plus the bird designs are so cute, I think it's a bit fun and silly, so I hope people who play it will enjoy it too. All your favorite Touhou birds will be there, I think. If you had to describe your game as a species bird, which would it be? Oh, it's a simple bird. I guess a pigeon, but like in a cute way, so a cute pigeon. Simple and fun and cute, just like a pigeon. And I suppose if you had to describe your game as a species of bug, which would be? Oh, I love bugs. It would be like roly-poly. Same reason, simple and cute, but with the added effect of how it's fun to search for and find roly-polies. Alright, that's everything. Thank you for your time. No problem, bestie. Alright, next interview, Ice Lemon. What is your name? Ice Lemon is what I'm called on the internet. Can you tell the readers a bit about yourself? Feel free to say as much as you want. I mainly do art programming as my passion. I do also like video games, but I also actually prefer roguelike games like Risk Array and Star of Providence. Speaking of games, I know a lot of games no one had heard of that you could ask me for. Also go play Star of Providence, it's an incredible gem of a roguelike. It sounds like you're taking a lot of roles when making games. What's your role during this game jam and what have you been doing for it? Like usual, I am the main programmer and designer of the project. But since I am a team leader, I am also the guy that holds the steering wheels and cover up any members in need of the way. As for what I am doing, I kinda want to make this a surprise, but let's just say I'm up to my usual remix gameplay that no one would expect and somehow made it work. You've taken a lot of roles, so you have a unique perspective on this. What do you think the most difficult part of game development is? Management, level design, and game balancing. I think it's more on personality, but I am one person who prefers to just deeply focus on one challenging thing at a time. And these three by nature will require you to look at 5 windows in a minute, and it's also repetitive. You mentioned wanting to keep your game a bit of a surprise, but can you tell us a bit about how birds are involved? You play as a burb, avoiding other burbs from giving you a beatdown. I see, burb v burb. Are you personally a fan of birds? Do you have any favorite birds? I don't have any particular strong opinions about them to be honest, but owls are cool. Alright, if you had to describe your game as a species bird, what bird would be and why? Crow, you'll eventually know why. Alright, next interview, Saishu. Are you working on any self-submitted games this jam? Yep. What type of game is Where's Waldo type game? Sounds cool. I imagine there will be a variety of birds and we'll be looking for the odd ones out. Digs through outside world notes. Kinda like that Mario 64 DS minigame. Yep, exactly. Saishu's about a few words. First, get to the point. Very nice. Was there any particular moment that inspired this vision? What was the thought process like in coming up with this idea? I'd say I actually forgot how the idea spawned. I was thinking of a bird watching a book on North America and then decided to do a game similar to Where's Waldo book. I think partial inspiration also came from trying to make a simple, easy game. You mentioned the bird watching book. Do you have any particular interest in birding or bird watching? Not particularly, not currently at least. I had a slight intrigue in it a handful of years prior, but now I found I've noticed for culinary arts. Ooh, cooking stuff's cool. I've heard you've worked on a ton of other deep jam projects. Is there anything you don't do? You seem to dip your toes into just about everything life has to offer. Yeah, pretty much. I'd imagine there'd be too much that I've done at least once to indulge in this interview without drawing it on for ages, but some notable things is tailoring, weaving, beading, rock climbing, cooking, game development, and learning several languages including Greek and Latin. Okay, damn. It's a lot of stuff. Dang, you're not kidding. Is there something that drives you to pursue so many interests? Or do you think that exploring new experiences is just as an aspect of your personality? I just explore things out of curiosity, so I'd say the latter. Although I do expose that curiosity is more so out of what other world views allow you to see the world in another lens. Hence why I'm quite interested in traveling abroad and opening a restaurant. Well, to tie this back together completely naturally, if you had described your game as a species of bird, which would it be? That question is interesting. I'd say cuckoo if we're talking behaviorally, but appearance-wise, a night parrot. Good luck with the many projects I'm sure you're working on. Thank you for your time, no problem. And Solaris. What is your specialty when it comes to development? Are you a programmer? Do you focus on the presentations such as music or artwork? Or are you a Renaissance man and just do a bit of everything? Considering about that my engine choice is Redby, I'd say that first and foremost I focus on having a good script and presentation. I think getting creative with audio and visuals really bring a story to life. Tell us a bit about yourself. Feel free to overshare to your heart's content. I'm Solaris, so I think it's worth noting that I am probably wouldn't have any interest in game development if it weren't for Pokemon. I discovered the series at a really young age like many, and as I grew older, I was quickly introduced to the ROM hacking scene for the series. I remember having ideas in my head about hacks I would want to create since I was like 11 or so. Creating a full-scale hack is still a dream of mine, and I think that love for taking a series I enjoy and spinning it in my own direction was definitely responsible for me getting interested in joining these game jams. In fact, it was Pokemon fangames that were responsible for getting into the Touhou series in the first place. And in Touhou, I found fantastic hyperfixation that, in a sea of Yuri creations I love, has also coincidentally kinda made me feel seen as an aromantic just due to how open everything is in regards to relationships. What's the most difficult part of the game development process for you? This is a really interesting question because I've found Redby as an engine to be incredibly easy to work with, so in a sense it's probably keeping my own anxiety in check so I can focus on script writing and programming. Everyone I've worked with on this game has been great, so ultimately things fall on me as the director-producer and that gets a little bit scary at times. It's been a cool learning experience though. Would you consider yourself a fan of birds? What is your favorite if you have any? God, I've loved birds for so long as I can remember. I remember 5-year-old me being absolutely enamored with falcons, which, well, that's something that hasn't really changed. I still think birds of prey are really cool, even if they're also kind of terrifying. Ultimately, my favorite kind of bird is a very tough question for me. I think at the moment I'd lean towards the great horned owl. I just think they're really neat. Also, shoutouts to bitterns, absolutely fun little guys. Bitterns? I've never heard. What? Why is okay? I need to. Okay, it's done that. Alright, we'll look at bitterns later. Maybe. What is your game? What will it be like? What birds will the birders be able to expect? So my game is about an interview between Hatata and Satori. Inspired by their interactions in the official manga, kinda sticking with me after a while. I wanted it to be an outlet to talk about some cool birds I like, but also to talk about the anxiety of being a writer in one of my creations, since both Satori and Hatata are writers in canon, with very different focuses and experiences to share. I hope it's the kind of story that can resonate with at least someone. Also, in terms of birds, my inspirations came from the basis of scrapped bird Pokemon designs, like for instance the stork scrapped in Gen 2's development. It felt fitting for Touhou work, and also absolutely the kind of nerdy stuff I love doing. If you had to describe your game as a species of bird, which would be? Well, that's a verbose answer. So I've kind of thought about, and I think I have a bit of an atypical answer to this. The crested ibis. For those who aren't familiar with the story of the crested ibis, you see back in the 1980s the species got absolutely decimated by things like overhunting or the loss of their habitats, the increasing use of pesticides. The list kinda goes on. They died out entirely in Japan and only had about a little over 100 colonies in China. But there's a silver lining to this story, you see. Found in 1967, the Sado Japanese Crested Ibis Conservation Center was born to help maintain the already lesser amounts of the species population. China used their slightly rebounding wild population in the late 1990s to give a pair of Crested Ibis to the Conservation Center. They were all allowed to comfortably breed, the chicks were widely celebrated, and in 2008, some of the rebounding population was released into the wild. 2020 would come with the discovery that wild chicks were born for the first time in 36 years. And as of now, while they're still endangered, Sado's population of them is around over 500 now. It's a rare case of a conservation story gone right, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I think the kind of caring that produced the center, produced the other people who loved and celebrated this obscure bird, speaks well for the kind of thing that motivated this visual novel. We need people around us to thrive, and animals can be great friends for us in our darkest too. I want to tell a story that even if times look down on you, there can still be someone that can help you. Just like the story of the Crested Ibis in a distant way. Just that boy, hold on, say. Do you want me to include the parentheses? Yeah, sure. Alright, that should be everything. Thank you for your time. You're welcome. This was fun. Good luck with your project. That's all the interviews we managed to do. Because we would have to... Oh, that was a bonus interview. Okay, let's do that one. I've got an interview, someone special. I asked them for an interview, and they were like, okay. I forgot what I did for you. Hey, yo. Enjoy the special interview with Jab host Rakasak. Who are you in real life, away from the bird facade? 10-time Touhou Jab host, 2-time animator of Yuka Speak S to T, ordinary developer of 3D Bullet Hells, turned software engineer, turned full-time developer of 3D Bullet Hells, artist of Flandre holding a Cobol book, purveyor of obscure and mostly useless tag facts? Rock. What do you mean, facade? I'm definitely a bird. Look how shiny my feathers are. You're one of the main hosts of Touhou Game Jams. How'd you end up getting the job? One day long ago, when the only jam hosts were Brian and Texel put out a call for volunteers to help with organizing jams. I'd been participating in jams and answering questions about jam rules for a while at that point, and couldn't think of anyone else who might volunteer first, so I did. Texel closed that call for volunteers terrifyingly quickly, and I've been trapped here ever since. What's the hardest part of hosting Touhou Game Jams? Enforcing rules, maybe. Chastising people for infractions is one of those unpleasant but necessary things for community and event running. A close second might be manually tabulating jam scores at the end of the voting period. Check the rankings that Ichio calculates. Fortunately, we worked out a faster method since. What's your favorite part of hosting Touhou Game Jams? Getting to see what everyone else has made at the end. You'd think there'd only be so many ways to interpret Touhou into fan games, but the jammers always come up with new ones, and in working periods that would make most professional developers nervous too. You were represented by a nightjar bird in this game. Can you explain why? The dev team company name I operate under is Noetic Nightjar. Noetic because I think too much about design details. Nightjar because I like birds and it's a bird with a name that alliterates well, and nightjars have funny mouths that look tiny when closed but are actually really wide when opened. If you had described the idea of Touhou Game Jams as a species of bird, what type of bird would he? If you regard the jam games as the real birds of the show, the jams are more like a well-tended yard with bird feeders. If it has to be a bird though, I'd say a kakapo. Kakapo's neat. Alright, and that's the Game Jam Kerfluffle interview things. There's plenty more interviews to look around, but we'd be here for another hour. And you can find this yourself on the thing. I really should spend the next hour or two updating all the videos I've had that include the links to where you can get all the individual games, so you can try them out for yourself as well. You don't have to Google them, because fuck Google at this point. Don't use Google, go something else. Google's garbage. By the way, that's my ending. Read Touhou, play Touhou, enjoy Touhou as fuck Google and the corporations. Goodbye. Where's the stop? There we go, stop.